Sir, how is life like being a gastroenterologist?
It's an amazing life, sir.
So, if you have to list pros and cons,
Okay.
let's start with gastro.
You become independent very soon. The only con can be that if you don't have the guts to open your own setup.
MD medicine or MS surgery can operate in today's market.
So majority of the people today want to misguide you so that you don't grow ahead of them.
What is the highest amount doctors get paid in leading private hospitals?
See, a doctor never gets paid. You have to understand. Forget your degrees. It's about how much good work you can bring to the table.
What's the point of doing super specialty if you can't earn without investing crores?
So don't invest crores till you don't have them.
Many of our audience, do not believe when we say 1 crore a month is possible.
If you have become that kind of entrepreneur where you have owned a setup where 100 people are working, then there is no number, sir.
How much can a DM gastroenterologist earn in our country? We are building India's largest community of medicos, and thank you, each one of you, for being a part of this journey with me. But I again have a complaint, guys. 88% of you, 88% of the audience have still not subscribed to the channel. So before I introduce the esteemed guest for tonight, I would put a simple request: press the bell icon and subscribe to the channel. So today, after a huge demand from our audience to get a super specialist to our show, I thought, why not start with one of the best ones? We have got a gastroenterologist in our midst today. And he is not a small one, guys. MBBS from UCMS, postgrad from MAMC, Delhi, with the top honors, and DM from SN Medical College, Jodhpur. He's a senior consultant at Fortis for last 10 years and has done 1,000 endoscopic procedures like EUS, ERCP, third space endoscopy. He is a leading speaker at most of the national and international conferences and a member of Indian Gastroenterology Society. I think by now you must have guessed who he is. He is none other than Dr. Shubham Vatsya. With a profound knowledge of this field and an ambition I have not seen anywhere else, he has a very clear vision how he can make India much, much better. I'll tell you after this podcast, your internal ambition will grow 100x because he's a man with a very clear vision. He wants to succeed, he will succeed, and he will make everyone super, super successful. And with this, let's put our hands together and let's welcome Dr. Shubham Vatsya. So welcome Dr. Shubh sir on the Nachiket Bhatia Show.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here and meet you finally.
Sir, thank you for the kind words. The honor is all mine. You are one of the best minds in the country currently doing gastroenterology, and it's such a highly reputed branch. So I'm sure I would like to know the journey. What would I say for myself? I'd say the audience would like to know everything about Dr. Shubham Vatsya. How did he start? How the MBBS journey, MD, DM, and post that you are such a senior consultant in Fortis right now. So how did you reach that remarkable achievement?
So, sir, thank you for your kind words. And I come from a very humble background. So the aim was always to be recognized, do something good, and create a good name. So I did my schooling from Gyan Bharati School, Saket, a good enough school, not one of the top schools in Delhi, but a good enough school. So, but the problem was that nobody from my school had majorly cracked PMT before that. So I worked hard, and with the grace of God and my parents, in the first attempt, I got an All India rank 72 and a Delhi rank around 140. From both All India and DPMT, I got UCMS. So in UCMS, I realized that in medical college, there's no survival without being academically excellent. So despite I was good at maths and biology was the second, option, and I became a doctor because my parents and my father wanted me to become a doctor. So when I got into MBBS in the third semester, I realized that without studying or without ratta in the Hindi word, there's no way ahead, because even when you talk about concepts, like you've been into the coaching thing for a long time, even the toppers who have a lot of concepts, they have rectified around 100 times. True. And then they can around collaborate things and say this is so easy. So you cannot be a horse without being a donkey in medical science. So I was a good donkey. I studied really hard, and I gave a lot of So it was very popular at that time, Dr. Bhatia Medical Institute, Grantes. That was, and there was another institute called IMS, FTS.
Ji.
So I used to give these two, and I always remained in the top 50 of All India, and that is where my rank also collaborated with the All India rank. So luckily, in the first attempt again, I got a top All India rank, and I joined Maulana Azad Medical College. But the whole thing in MBBS was that I had a fire in my belly that I have to do MD medicine from AIMS at any cost. And I forgot eating, I forgot drinking, I forgot partying with friends, I forgot dating girls, I forgot everything. And it was very clear that I have to do MD medicine, I have to become a good physician. Unluckily, I got a top rank in AIMS, but first three people, 1, 2, 3, took all the 3 seats in November AIMS first attempt. So could not get medicine. So then All India, at that time it was All India PG. It was conducted by AIMS in 2011. So I got a top rank again. I got Maulana Azad Medical College, which was a good second option to AIMS. And then my life changed. I was trained by one of the topmost gastroenterologists in the country by the name of Dr. Premashish Kar. Sir was really kind to me, and I used to do endoscopies with him. Not doing endoscopies, but reporting with him in Maulana Azad Medical College. That is where my interest towards gastroenterology grew. So as we were discussing at the time, I picked up gastroenterology. It was not one of the top branches, but it was an upcoming branch. Cardiology was way ahead, and but I, as a physician, wanted to do something interventional, which is not top intervention, but a good intervention with an OPD. So that's where my interest grew into gastroenterology, and I again cracked, with the grace of God Almighty, my parents, a top rank, All India rank, and I got into DM gastroenterology. So that's been my journey.
Very inspiring, sir. Sir, if I may ask that, if you could go back to 21 again, would you choose a different specialty?
While I was doing MBBS, you talk about medicine or gastroenterology?
Sir, choosing medicine again, would you do that?
Yes, I would do that. I think MD medicine is the most wonderful field anyone can practice. It gives you insight to the pathophysiology of the disease. It gives you insight to how you can slow down complications of multiple diseases which are life-threatening, like you can slow down diabetes, related complications of CKD, of CAD. You can slow down complications of hypertension. And for me, I think medicine is the backbone of healthcare.
You would not choose radiology over medicine?
No, I will never do that.
May I ask why?
See, you have to understand personalities. I, as a personality, I love to be a showstopper. So I don't work behind the scenes. So that might be my strength, that might be my weakness, but I have to be the showstopper. I have to be the go-to man. I have to be the person who's at the center of the attention. So I think there can be no better branch than an MD medicine to cater to maximum people and be the center of the attention. So I would never take radiology and go behind the scenes.
I think that's the best part about you, that you know what you want from the day one itself.
So that is basically because of my father. Like your father had been an inspiration to so many of people. My father has been my inspiration. He has trained me from a very young age that how I have to live my life. He has made me realize my dreams. And so I would dedicate this, whatever I think, to my father. Yeah. The love to my mother, the practicality to my father.
Sir, how is life like being a gastroenterologist?
It's an amazing life, sir. As a gastroenterologist or as any doctor, the first thing is to be academically brilliant. You have to know your subject. You cannot be like a lot of things. People today think that you can market something, you can go into sales and create stuff. But if you do not know the disease, if you do not read your textbooks well, then you cannot be a good gastroenterologist, a good cardiologist, or whatever. So I want to come to that part, that being academically brilliant, knowing your Harrison well, knowing your medicine well, knowing your Schlesinger's gastroenterology well, that is where the actual fun comes from. Within 5 minutes of talking to a patient, you actually know what the disease is. Whether this is an organic patient, whether this is a functional patient, whether this is a celiac disease, whether this is a diabetic gastroparesis, whether it is an ulcerative colitis, whether it is a Crohn's disease. So once you make that kind of diagnosis, and a patient who's coming to you with 10 files, has seen 10 physicians, not getting response, you make a diagnosis of ulcerative colitis, which was diagnosed as hemorrhoids by majority of the people, and you start this patient on adequate medicines, and this patient responds. So you get the kick of life. You get the recognition of life, because this patient now, for a lifetime, is going to take your name in places where you don't know. And he's going to go to his village, bring 10 more patients, and that becomes, so at times you don't even know where the patient is coming from. So I've been into practice now 8 years. And in the evening, I don't know where will this crowd come from. But one patient getting that result which other people are not able to deliver. That's the power of super speciality. So it feels like some days you feel like you have achieved something, and then you realize where you come from, and the miles to go before I sleep. There are promises to keep. So that's how it unfolds. But yes, it feels good when you sit alone. You think about patients. The way patients call you, you get 1,000 calls a day. Even your manager is troubled with taking those calls, and you have to keep two managers, and very soon a third manager will come into the picture. So it feels really good because the aim was to be socially recognized for something good you are doing. And the aim was to be invited by people like you to podcasts where you are heard. So it's not easy for people to hear you. Even for you to make your voice heard, you have to have some solid credentials and solid performances.
So, would you say, and this is a question that has been put to me by many medicos, whether it is MBBS or MD medicines, and I would say every medicine, every branch in the whole NEET PG system, that is super speciality a mandatory thing right now? Or do you think simple MD medicine or MS surgery can operate in today's market?
Sir, I think the market is too big to label it into anything. People who tell you that it is saturated, either they are lying to themselves or they are lying to you. So majority of the people today want to misguide you so that you don't grow ahead of them. That is what I have realized, and that is my practical experience. So I don't think MD medicine is a small thing. We still don't have many good MD medicines. Yes, you might not earn that amount which a super specialist would at the same time, but maybe 20 years into practice that won't matter. But if you get a chance, yes, you should do super speciality today, because it is partly need of the hour in top cities like us. So it is, yes, need of the hour, but if your question is that you cannot do without that, I would say no to that. Because as an MD medicine, if I just decide to open my own clinic and convert it into a multi-speciality daycare, 5 bed, 10 bed, I think it's a very good idea. I don't think you will be earning any less. You'll have a pharmacy, you'll have a path lab, you will have multiple, patients who will come for drips, for acute gastroenteritis. You can very well in 5 years convert it to a nursing home. So, but the problem is we don't have the guts to start somewhere. We think that we'll get, like you said, we'll get 1,000 crores, then we'll start with Medanta. The point is not that. The point is in the journey, there's no destination. You have to start with whatever you have. There has to be a thought, there has to be a vision, there has to be an action. And with that, there will have to be a team of people who believe in your thought, vision, and action. If you don't have people who believe in that, then there's a problem, because you cannot do everything with two hands. It's how you build a team, how you believe in the whole process. Where do you see yourself going in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years? That might be with, you can do a super specialty and you can do a job forever. And you might be earning less than an MD medicine who's running a nursing home. So if you talk about finances, I think it's more about the person than about the field. But yes, if you are the same person, so if you talk about me, I was the same person with MD medicine and with the DM gastroenterology, yes, I would be earning maybe a hell lot of more than I would have been doing at the same time with an MD medicine.
So, but don't you think that when applying for jobs like senior consultant Fortis, now even hospitals are demanding super speciality as a mandatory thing. So 10 years down the line, if a person is not doing a super specialty right now, 10 years down the line, they are going to have a big disadvantage in the market.
Yes, sir, that's what I said. It's a need of the hour. But your earlier question was that is it, if without that you won't be able to succeed? The answer was no to that.
Okay.
See, if you have to work in a corporate hospital as an MD medicine, in 10 years you will become a senior consultant of MD medicine. But your earning would not be there. So that is the priority which I am looking for. See, what other thing I think is that if you want to do super speciality so badly, it has to be done the way I did it, in continuity. What people do is, because of major reasons, they branch out for 3 years, then they want to do it again. That is the problem where it comes, because with time, multiple responsibilities come up. So you cannot study. If you ask me to give the DM entrance again, I won't be able to crack it right now. Are you getting me? So that is the problem which people face. If you're very clear in your head that you have to come to Delhi, you have to come to Mumbai, you have to come to Bangalore, these top cities, then I think you should do the DM or the MCH degree at the correct time, because later you won't be able to do it. And when time goes, then there's nothing can be done.
True.
So yes, the answer is yes, it is required. The answer is no, that there is no other option.
So back in 2011, I hope I'm saying the year correct.
Yeah.
Sir, in 2014, choosing gastro must have been a difficult decision. How did you choose gastro? Because you had a very good rank. Cardiology might be an option. I think at that time, I might be wrong here. Might be that nephro must be also in the top tier branches. Rheumat also. Why did you choose gastro?
Sir, see, I was a pure physician when I was doing MD medicine. I wanted to do something interventional, but which was OPD core. So the only branch which was giving me both OPD and intervention was gastroenterology. Cardiology was hardcore intervention. I had to do angios. The graph was longer. So practically, I thought that nephro does not have that level of interventions. Rheumat does not have that level of interventions. Neurology does not have that level of interventions. I was trained by a gastroenterologist. So I knew that upper GI endoscopy, colonoscopy, ERCP, EUS, POEM was coming up. So I have a plethora of procedures which I'll be doing, which differentiates me from a physician. See, an MD medicine will be taking care of rheumatoid arthritis. Rheumatologist is also doing the same. An MD medicine is taking care of Parkinson maybe. A neurologist is also doing the same. An MD medicine is taking care of diabetic CKD. A nephrologist is all doing the same. But an MD medicine is not able to manage an ulcerative colitis and a variceal bleed. So that is where a distinguishing point came, where I knew that this is a genuine problem in the society, that there are so many patients. And in MD medicine, I was learning that non-alcoholic fatty liver disease is coming up, and we were seeing so many cirrhotic patients with Proctor Premoshish Kar, as I told you. So I knew that there is a need, and this is an upcoming branch. It has not reached there, but if with the kind of what do you call passion I have, if I give it to this branch, I can grow, and that was the vision I had at that time. In 10 years, I think I have been pretty accurate with my vision, and I want to work harder. So that's the whole thing I was focusing on.
So by God's grace, you will achieve even higher things in the life. Of course, I know that you're a very hardworking man, an ambitious man. I think those are the two things you need to become a success. So it's a simple thing.
It's fire in the belly. You have to be hungry.
Yes.
You have to be hungry. As Virat Kohli says, you have to be hungry.
Always.
You cannot be satisfied. If you're satisfied, don't come and talk to me.
Sir, let's talk about today's scenario. NEET SSR result has come down, and I was looking at the ranks. Now, rheumat, cardiology, gastro, nephrology, those were the top branches. But neurology has taken a big hit. Rank 79 is the first person to take up neurology. Why is that?
Sir, I don't think it's a very practically correct decision. Neurology is a very good branch, and with the kind of patients we have and the kind of aging population we have, I think it cannot be ignored. I think people are taking this pure due to glamour of being a gastroenterologist. Today, being a gastroenterologist is a big thing. So being a cardiologist is a big thing. So I think it's more glamour driven. I would not say that neurology is anywhere less. Even if you talk about earning, I think a lot of neurologists earn more than nephrologists. A lot of neurologists earn more than rheumatologists, much more than rheumatologists. So yeah, I don't think it's a very practically correct decision if people are doing it per se for the earning part. But the second thing which I can think about, a possible reason, is that there is not much exposure to neurology during MD. You do not see complicated cases of neurology like cerebellar ataxias or these kind of things. These are seen mainly by super specialists. So that kind of exposure is not there. The main exposure is to cardiology, gastroenterology, good amount of nephrology. So that also plays a role with the toppers, because toppers are very influenced by the cases they see, like I was. So that is what the whole, I can postulate a reason for that.
Can you share some interesting cases with us?
Sir, why not? So recently I had a patient of 77-year-old dementia. He had swallowed something. He was not able to intake anything, and he was not able to speak. So wife took him to a general physician. He did an X-ray of the chest. He saw a key in the throat. So I put a scope in. The general physician sent that patient to me. I put a scope in. I saw a key with a full keychain. Lodged, the key was inside the trachea, the keychain was inside the esophagus. And I took it out with a scope, and within 15 minutes, the patient was talking, he was swallowing, he was breathing well. So it was the most recent, and it was, if you have seen, it was covered widely in the media. Again, there was one case where where a child had swallowed a battery, a 4-year-old, and a battery is a medical emergency. So in the stomach, it was leaking acid. So immediately we took it out, and within a minute, like within 30 seconds. So that was another interesting case. Then bread and butter, we have variceal bleeds of different kind, different magnitude, which we save lives daily. So there are a lot of cases which keep coming up. Poisonings are very interesting because one day a person just decides to drink acid or any kind of poison, and it becomes a challenging case for a gastroenterologist. So yeah, these are some interesting cases which we keep seeing.
So if you have to list pros and cons of the top 3 to 4 super specialty branches,
Okay.
let's start with gastro.
So Gastro Pro is that if you are good with the diagnostic procedures and you are not very ambitious with doing the high-end procedures, you become independent very soon. So depending on how fast you complete DM. So if like me, you did in first attempt, before 30, you can start your own OPD. You can start your own endoscopies, your own colonoscopies. With time, you can earn, I don't know how much. Even number is something which even I cannot predict. So that is a very big pro. The second thing is you have a big OPD base, so you become really popular. If you're just ready to give in the hours. But you have to understand you have to work for 12 to 14 hours daily and not taking Sundays off for at least 5 years. So you have to forget family. You have to do that Sri Ram Ji wala Vanvas. It might not be 14 years, but yes, 5 years definitely needed. You have to be at it. And the way you studied in the library, you have to work like that. And if you can do that, in 5 years, you will be a renowned person in any city. So I established my name in South Delhi. So you understand South Delhi is one of the most saturated and most toxic environments in the whole country. We have the who's who living there and everything. So if I was able to do that in a period of 5 to 8 years, I think in any area in India, you can do that. But as a gastroenterologist, you have to be available. You have to take calls. You have to answer calls. You have to answer toxic questions of patients on WhatsApp. You cannot say that I want a cool life. So cool life is a myth, like you were talking about radiology. So there's no cool life. Your family will hate you. Your wife might hate you. You might not spend time with children. Your parents might say you don't need to work so much, but you'll have to have that craziness, that fitur, that junoon, that never say die attitude to actually make it. Con, I don't think there's any. The only con can be that if you don't have the guts to open your own setup, you don't have a guts to go out and maybe take CMEs and teach people and show how academically strong you are. If you cannot do that, then there's a problem. You have to create a reputation that yes, you did DM, so you are the best of the lot, and you are here to create awareness. So even when I started my Instagram journey around a year ago, around 9 months ago, the aim was to create awareness, to create an image in the eyes of people that yes, this person is here to make sense with us. He can make us understand stuff in a language we understand. So whether it is a sweeper, whether it is a doctor, whether it is a lawyer, whether it is an MBBS, MD, DM, you have to have that patience and that control over your language to make people understand that what they have. So if you cannot do this, then I think in any field you'll have a problem growing. So we do at least 2 CMEs in a month. And we try to invite guests whom we have not met. So that is the way you can actually create a positive impression in the whole medical community. So I think that is a very important part of growth.
What about rheumatology?
Rheumatology is a pure OPD branch. So that becomes negative. It is a highly specified branch. Cases which a rheumatologist can manage, no one else can manage. So yes, if you create a name, the graph would be longer because these cases are prevalence dependent. You understand that the incidence of these cases is not very high. You will not find a new SLE patient every day, a new lupus nephritis patient every day, a new rheumatoid arthritis patient every day, a new scleroderma patient every day. So in rheumatology, your OPD will take time, but the patient you will have, if you are good at your subject, you will have for a lifetime. So in a day, the top rheumatologist of Delhi, there's a guy who retired from AIMS, practices in Hoskas. He has 50 to 75 patients daily, but he's around 70 years. So it took that time to build that kind of OPD that in 50, I'm sure 40 to 45 will be old patients who are coming for follow-ups. So getting new patients is a tough job. That's point number one. Making that kind of patient pool for a long term, that is going to be a tough job, but a highly satisfying branch if you are a pure physician. So with neurology, with rheumatology, you are actually, even with super specialty, you remain a pure physician, which brings the earning capacity to a limit independently. A neurologist might earn more than a gastroenterologist if he has 100 patients admitted under him in a hospital. But if you talk about practice with procedures, a gastroenterologist must be earning way more than a neurologist. You understand what I'm saying?
Understood.
So that is what I'm trying to say, that with neurology, rheumatology, and partly nephrology, it's mainly OPD basis. You don't have that kind
So
of
there's no part
procedures.
to start a hospital or a nursing home post rheumatology.
You cannot, because you don't have that kind of IPD.
Exactly.
You'll need medicine people to actually fill those IPD things. So you won't be able to do that. Yes, you can build your own OPD, and yes, that would be a good thing. That can be a long lasting thing if you have that kind of vision, that kind of persistence, that you can last for, maybe if gastroenterology takes 5 to 8 years, rheumatology might take 10 to 15 years. That's the whole thing.
What about nephrology?
Very good branch, sir. Again, your OPD will rise like anything with time. Prevalence based. CKD is the bread and butter. If you gain that kind of name, then nephrotic syndromes will come to you. AKIs will start coming to you. And it might take a little more time, but very good branch. But gets masked by gastroenterology. Like a renal colic comes with pain abdomen. So it becomes a more referral kind of a thing, more than cardiology and gastroenterology. The kind of new patients coming to you on their own will any day be more in gastroenterology, cardiology, neurology than in rheumatology and nephrology. But as if you are a nephrologist, you can very well open your own dialysis center with time. That can be a very good earning way if you are a nephrologist. Yeah, so nephrology is an amazing branch. I loved it. It has a lot of variety. But yeah, I won't rank it above gastroenterology.
What about neurology?
Amazing branch, sir. I don't know why people are picking it late, because again, you have lots of patients who will come to you directly. People know that this is a neurology thing. Tremors, optic neuritis, headaches, OPD is brilliant. And you will have general OPD. I have a neurologist friend who practices in Okla. He has so much OPD that I can't even imagine to have that much of OPD. Right? So it's all about what you're looking for. But eventually, sir, there is no shortcut. The point through which, because I know majority of the medicos will be listening to us, don't look for shortcuts. Don't find that I'll pick up radiology and paisa hi paisa hoga. That's not going to happen. Because anyway, you're never going to earn through a job. Even if you don't have an entrepreneur mindset, after being a doctor, you are not talking about earning money. We cannot. If I work for you, sir, if I was still teaching in an institute, I would not be that popular and I would not be making that kind of money. And you know it better than me. Because I sidestepped at the correct time, did something on my own, independently, made my name, and I worked as much as I used to study. I was not looking for shortcuts. I was not looking for making money in 6 hours. I'm still working for 12 to 14 hours every day. Now I'm taking Sunday offs because I have the luxury to do that now. But are you getting me? People, a lot of students message me, because I have taught so many students, that, sir, I want a cool life. I want to do dermatology for a cool life. Then cool life and money don't come together. Then don't talk about driving BMWs or having a house in the top areas of the city or whatever. That won't happen then. For that, you will have to actually work your ass off. And you'll have to do it regularly. And a person who's passionate is never tired. I've come after a long OPD. I'll go back and do OPD. I'm not tired, sir. Do you think I'm tired?
No.
I've not had breakfast. I've not had lunch. I'm not hungry. I'm supercharged to talk to you.
You're
Right?
full of energy.
Yeah. So that, why? Because I have to grow at any cost, either with or without you or without anyone. I have to grow. And my patient is my God. If I can forget praying to the Almighty, I cannot forget praying to the new patient who's coming every day. Because a satisfied patient is the biggest marketing agent for my life, is the biggest asset. And if you talk to 15 minutes for a new patient, he will always be there for you whole life. Your family might say you're not a good person. That patient will always say you are a good person.
So, sir, I think you're the best person to ask this question. Give me 5 ways that a new medico can actually think ki ha, by using these means, by having that kind of mindset, I can earn money in the upcoming future.
One is I have to be independent. If I work in my youth under someone, then for a good amount of time, I will not have my OPD. The only person who is going to make a mark in the private sector is the person who has number of patients. Without the vision how to create that number of patients, you are not going to grow. So if you are thinking I'll open OPD after 5 years, now it's like having your own kid. If you have a kid after 5 years, then after 5 years, he will be 0 days. And after 10 years, he'll be 5 years old. But if you have a kid today, in 5 years, he will be 5 years old. You can have a second kid then. Are you getting me? So first would be, how do I open my own OPD? So I think if you have that kind of mindset, then you will think about not entering a new area. See, if you're married, husband, wife, you should actually go to a place, and both are doctors, both are practicing. You actually should go to a place where either your in-laws stay or your parents stay. Because everyone has a circle of influence, and the best way to being talked about is to be a local.
This is very good advice, guys. That's a very good advice, actually, boss.
So because I did my schooling from South Delhi, MBBS from Delhi, MD from Delhi, I was an extrovert throughout, so I had a lot of friends. If I decided to go to Bangalore, then some other Shubham Vatsya would have come, who was from Bangalore, who already knew half the city, right? And whose parents were there, whose parents were every day talking about them, whose in-laws were there, whatever. So that becomes, so a person more brilliant than me coming to Delhi might not make that kind of name so fast. Because now everyone is my friend. Every schoolmate is telling everyone that Fortis mein wo jo senior consultant hai, he's my classmate. He might not have talked to me in 20 years, but he can call me today or message me that I have this problem, I want to come to you. So I think being close to your roots, if you want to practice, becomes a very important thing. Sometimes practically you cannot do it, but you should try your best. Don't get into this concept of quality of life. It's the worst concept. Without money, there is no quality of life, sir. That I am a person from Maharashtra, my wife is from Bengal, I am living in Delhi for quality of life. If you are earning 2 lakh rupees a month, both of you, and 4 lakh rupees a month, what quality you cannot afford a house here. You cannot buy a house here. Then what quality of life without your own house? Are you getting me? You cannot put your child in a GD going car or a modern Vasant Vihar or a modern Barakhamba with 4 lakh rupees. You cannot have 2 children in Delhi with a 4 lakh family income. So what quality of life are you talking about? Are you talking about roaming around in malls like Fukras? That's quality of life? Then I don't think that's quality of life. So I'm very clear in my head. A very main reason for you inviting me, for so many people knowing me, is that I am there where I was born, where I did my schooling, and I have been back there. And I made a point. I had options to go to Gurgaon or to Noida. I never did that. I stayed there. Sir, third would be, you have to sell yourself. So if you are good at what you do, see, you cannot hide from the market. You cannot sell yourself being bad at your job. If I don't know how to do ERCP and I sell I'm going to do ERCP, a patient dies from my hand, I create a bad name.
Very true.
So first I told you, academically brilliant. Second, you have to have your own OPD. Third, you have to ideally stay in a place you or your spouse belong to. Fourth, you have to sell yourself. So that's where CMEs come. That's where being invited to places. Like, you might not be a speaker, but you are invited to a CME. You can go and have dinner with 10 people. You can befriend them. So an important thing is, a person will always be comfortable to consult somebody who's friendly. So, and in a super specialist, referral is always there. A doctor who's not able to understand will always want to refer. So if you are not taking calls of a fellow doctor, so you have to go to places and befriend them, then you have to maintain that friendship. Go to festivals, call them on festivals, and you have to make it a point. Make broadcast lists on WhatsApp so that you can good morning, good evening them, so that they feel connected. Are you getting me? You have to have that zeal that what am I doing with this time? I'm awake at 6 a.m. in the morning. What am I doing with this time? Why am I Going on a morning walk without doing something to propagate my name. If I'm going to swimming, am I known by these 10 people? If I'm going to play golf, do I know these people? So networking with the correct people, particularly with doctors, becomes very, very, very important. And the fifth thing would be continuous learning. Upgrade your skill. Your skill is your asset. And I would tell you one more thing. Never ever be rude to your patient. You might be the most frustrated person in the world. Your wife might hate you, your children might hate you, your parents might hate you. But if you are ambitious with your work, just drink all the anger you have. You make a team, make them fight them. Don't become the face of the fight. If you follow this, sir, I'm sure it is just a matter of time. You will make a name, you will make fame, you will make money. Because for me, money is a byproduct of my name and my work. If I'm working, money is going to follow. The day I forget all this and I start running after money, I think I lose myself in the process.
So you talked about that you started working independently immediately after your DM.
Yes.
I think that's one of the most challenging time for every postgrad or postgrad.
Yes, sir.
Basically, seniors are telling them that they should work for a couple of years. You got the same advice. And there is always this part that there's a basic investment required if you want to start working independently. So at that moment, how much investment do you think was required at your time? How did you procure that investment? And to actually start working independently, and how till the time you were basically making it break even or taking home profit, how much time did it take to establish your own clinic?
Sir, I never invested a lot of money for the first 2 years.
So
So
if I
I'll tell
may
you what
ask,
happened.
what was that amount?
Yeah, I'll just tell you. I'll tell you everything. I'll be very honest. I'll tell you everything. So my mother is a BMS doctor. She has a 10 by 10 clinic in South Delhi, in a suburb of South Delhi. I started doing my evening OPD there. She used to end her OPD at 7. I used to do it from 7 to 9. So I invested no money.
Okay.
It was already a running place. I had no money. I had absolutely no money. I joined a corporate hospital. I was 9 to 5 there. I used to do freelance for some time, and then 7 o'clock I used to come to my mom's clinic, sit 7 to 9. Within 6 months, me and my mom started having a fight. That my patient started coming at 6, started interrupting with her patients, and she said, I am a BMS doctor, my patients might be less paying, but for me, they are my bread and butter. We cannot do this. So I took a shop exactly opposite to her, 10 by 10, at a rent of 10,000 rupees. Only OPD. Within the next 1 year, I had a problem that I did not have my own scope, endoscope. Now came the challenge. But by now, I knew that I am seeing 4 or 5 patients daily in the evening on my own name at my clinic. So I took a bigger place. Now this was a rent of 50,000 per month. And I took a loan of 50 lakh rupees for endoscope, colonoscope, a side view endoscope, and a processor. So that was the first major risk I took, and my father was against it. That how will you procure so much money? It's a lot of investment for a 31-year-old guy. And I was like hellbent that somehow I'll be able to do it. So I took a long loan. I took it for 8 years. By the grace of God, I closed it in 1 year. And I'm using the same scopes. But that was a risk, which was a genuine big risk I took. And that was a major investment for a gastroenterologist to be independent. Even today in 50 lakhs, and I would always advise, run your clinic on rent. Don't buy it. If you're very sure, if you're established, even today my clinic is on lease. It's a one-way lease. I can leave it, he cannot ask me to leave. Because in work you don't know. So and second, don't carry that kind of responsibility till you have major funds. So leasing out and renting will always be easier than buying a place. If you think that I will buy a place and then start an OPD, you will miss 5 to 10 years. Because if your father is very rich, that's a different thing. But if you are like major time, the first generation doing that, so you have to be calculative with your expenses. So in a city like us in Delhi, or maybe the top tier cities, always have a corporate hospital who's going to support you for your major expenses. Make that plan A. Okay. Make plan B your practice. Work hard on it. Okay. Don't work in a hospital which does not allow you to do OPD. Because a lot of hospitals will tell you, will not allow you to do OPD. Okay. Don't work at such places. I did not. So I joined at a much less salary in my first job than two other hospitals because I was allowed to do OPD at the first hospital I joined. So that was again a risk I took. So there have to be calculated risks, and that can only be answered if you have a correct vision that this is what I'm going to do. A problem with doctors is that in their mid 40s also they don't know what they want to do. So I have a friend. He is DM cardio. So he did my MD with me, all India topper. Worked with me at a hospital, same hospital for 3 years. Then he said that in Delhi it's very saturated. I'm going to Siliguri. Went to Siliguri. After 2 years called me that I'm not happy. I'm coming back to Delhi. Came back to Delhi. After 2 years said I'm not happy. I'm going back to Siliguri. Came back. Now this will never work. If today I disappear from Delhi, nobody will know me. Suppose I go to Bangalore and I start an OPD. Now it will be like a new child. It will take 10 more years now. So being stable in one part of the country or one city, place is very important.
What non-medico skill, I will call it a life skill, do you think is a mandatory to learn? It can be 4 to 5 skills to actually become successful while running a clinic. Because academically, of course, I consider everybody who has crossed, MBBS, MD, DM, I consider them academically gifted. It's not an easy course. It is a very difficult course with its own problems, your own hurdles. But again, not everybody is successful because I believe that they lack the basic life skills. They tend to focus on the only one fact that मेरे पास degree है, and they forget that it is a skill that actually makes you rich, successful. What are the skills that you recommend?
Public speaking. You have to be a good speaker. You have to be a good orator. Even if you look at a government, you have amazing orators which were not present in the governments before 2014. So anywhere you are going today, if you are not a good orator, you will have a problem. Because that is the point blank thing where you are almost always selling yourself, whether you're talking to a patient, whether you're talking to a friend, whether you're talking to your employee, whether you're talking to anyone on the road. So public speaking has to be a cornerstone of your personality. Second would be you have to be a leader. You have to understand what your manager is doing, what your receptionist is doing, how they are comfortable. How do you give them incentives? How do you increase their salaries? If they're working, if they're traveling at work, do you take care of their expenses? If you are working with them, you're having lunch, are they having lunch? So you have to be rich so if you're a leader, you have to be rich. Third would be, I would say, you have to work on your emotional quotient. Doctors are very poor with that. So how do you work with your emotional quotient? Be present always. Understand the other person's problem. A lot of people are looking up to you because yes, you are a DM gastro, you're a DM cardio, you are one of the few people. Still, there are a lot of vacuum for the need of good doctors in the country. So you have to work on your emotional quotient. You have to understand that when a person is coming to you with a problem, he has to be heard. You might not solve the problem because maybe that guy is manipulating you. But first, he has to be heard. 5, you have to have gratitude. You cannot say today that I have so many patients and so many calls that this is all is waste and become high-headed. No, you have to thank the Almighty and ask the Almighty for more problems and ask yourself that every next level will come with more problems. I have to be that astute to solve those problems because the minute I solve them, I go to the next level. So there has to be a person who's talking very politely to the patients. If you are irritated, yes, you'll be irritated with calls. There has to be a person who's answering those calls. There has to be a person who's taking the brunt. There has to be that kind of thing where a person filters and brings to you. You can very well decide not to talk to people on phone. I don't talk to people on phone, and if it's very important, they want a consultation, I take an online consultation. Because that's the price of filtering the urgency. Because you're a single person. So there are the 5 things, sir, if you have in you, I think you will grow. That is my experience. I might be wrong. You might
No, sir.
agree or not, but I think this is very important.
It's always about a journey which you have gone through where you learn this thing that this was my USP which made me a success. So nobody better to tell that journey than you itself.
No, I'm being very honest, sir. As you told that it is a very honest podcast, I'll be very honest.
I think our audience needs to understand that if a person is successful, it's not because of the degree, but also because the struggle that he has gone through and the USPs that he had. And I think you have given us your USP, so you can expect much more, better gastroenterologists coming into the market.
I'll be very happy, sir. I'll be very happy.
Sir,
Because
I'll ask you the most demand question of our podcast now. How much can a DM gastroenterologist earn in our country? All right, and you have to be very, sir, very objective with the number. You have to start with immediately what is the first job after DM, 10 years down the line, 20 years down the line.
so first job can be anywhere between 2 to 3 lakhs per month after a DM gastro. 10 years down the line will depend upon the number of patients you have. It can be anywhere around 8 lakhs a month to 1 crore a month, depending upon how much patients you have, whether you have an independent setup, whether you're working in a hospital. If you are in a corporate hospital, you would be earning around 7 to 8 lakhs a month in 10 years. But if you are running your own setup, then I don't know where can I peak that number. There's no limit. 20 years down the line, if you're in a corporate hospital, 10 to 15 lakhs a month. No answer to person running his own setup. It can be anything.
So let's talk in detail.
It can be
about
1
this
to 2
setup.
lakhs to 3 lakhs a day, 4 lakhs a day, 5 lakhs a day. It can be that amount.
So-
for a person running his own setup, it can be any amount. It can be just any amount.
DM gastro करनी है.
नहीं मतलब I'm just telling you. But sir, see, I think if I was DM Nephro, I would be earning the same. If I would be DM Neuro, I would be earning the same. So coming to the non-objective answer, I think it's still more about the person. So there are a lot of people who have done gastroenterology or maybe doctory, become a doctor and not do doctor stuff like you and are earning way more than a gastroenterologist. So I'll just be very honest that it has to be, so we have to understand as doctors that the market is about entrepreneurial mindset. You can be a doctor and be an entrepreneur. You have to bring something extra onto the table than what everyone is doing. Because 99.9% people are going to be average. To be in that 0.1%, right? You have to be something, you have to be called crazy by people. There has to be something which people are not able to understand.
Sir, gastro में, I mean, what is a setup in a gastro? We have talked about a setup. So, in a layman term, sir, explain it to me that what is the setup that is built in a gastro branch?
See, we can talk about three kinds of setups. One is an OPD setup. OPD setup, you just need a room like an MD medicine. If you want to do daycare procedures like endoscopies, colonoscopies, you need another room, a proper suite for endoscopy and colonoscopy. You might need a light anesthesia backup. Okay, you might need an anesthesiologist for tricky patients. And you will need good endoscopy technicians because scopes are very sensitive. One fiber breaks and you spend 5 lakh rupees. Scopes are very sensitive. They are very advanced these days. They are not fiber optic. They are not rigid. They are flexible scopes. So you need trained endoscopists who have trained endoscopic technicians. I have very good 2 endoscopy technicians. And they are very well trained. So that is why I don't take care of my scopes. They do. So for a scope is like a baby. It's like a stethoscope for an MD medicine. Without that, you cannot do anything. So for that, you need endoscope. So that around a good endoscope, colonoscope with a processor with a side view will cost around 30 to 50 lakhs. Third would be a full daycare setup. So I'm not working in the night, but full day I'm working. So you can add 20 more lakh rupees for that because you will need nursing staff. You will need you will need multiple injections and everything. But 20 lakhs over a year, it's not a big investment. Then comes that if you want to open a gastro hospital, maybe a 10-bed hospital. Now that becomes a big cost because now we're talking about real estate as well. So rents become high, cost of the land becomes high, licenses become very high. Because once you are opening a hospital, there are a lot of licenses like NABH and multiple things which MCD and everything. I don't even know about that because I've not gone on that road. But that can be challenging for me also for now. So these are the things which are important. So gastroenterology gives you the luxury of going full Monty interventional or non-interventional. If I only want to do endoscopy, colonoscopy, and some people want to learn also and they have done the DM or DNB, I can do my OPD, they can do the procedures. I can stand and see the procedures. And I can give my expert opinion. So it gives me a lot of flexibility. Like that in cardiology, it might be a tough job. Tougher, not tough, tougher. So definitely people will crack that code also. And you might meet a cardiologist who's done already, which I don't know. But in gastroenterology, you have good luxury.
Sir, you said that 1 crore a month is possible if you are running your own setup. Maybe a higher amount is possible. Just give me a ballpark number. How many patients would you require daily to reach that 1 crore a month mark?
Depending on what your consultation is, if you think 1,000 to 1,500 rupees, around 40 patients in a day, easily.
And you are reaching that number.
1 lakh rupees to 2 lakh rupees a day easily. If you have 40 to 50 patients OPD with a 1,500 rupee consultation.
Many of our audience, do not believe when we say 1 crore a month is possible.
Sir, I also thought the same. So they are not wrong. I also thought the same. But I'm not earning that much yet. But if I want to, in the next 10 years, I can show them my bank statement. So that is the only way to prove. But no, I don't think it's impossible. So my consultation is not 1,500 at my clinic. I don't do my clinic for the whole day. See, this can only happen if you're running your own setup. You have patients in your own name. The pharmacy is run by you. The path lab is run by you, right? You're admitting patients at your own setup. Then there is no number, sir. What are you talking about? If you have become that kind of entrepreneur where you have owned a setup where 100 people are working, you think 1 crore a month is a very big number.
Profit, not revenue.
No, I'm talking about profit. I'm talking overall. If you are the face of the hospital, you are the practicing gastroenterologist. Your consultation is fully yours. So you're talking about 1,500, 50 patients a day becomes 75,000. 50, you do 10 endoscopies, 5,000 rupees, 50,000. So, and there's no major cost of all this. You add 1 lakh 25, 1 lakh 75 plus 50, 1 lakh 25, 1 lakh 35,000. You do 5 to 10 colonoscopies, 8,000 becomes 80,000. But this is pure, what I'm talking about is that you are fully dedicated to diagnostic procedures only. The minute you go to therapeutic side, you'll have to go to a hospital. So that becomes tricky because when you go to a hospital, you earn only 40% of the procedure, 70% of the OPD, 80% of the OPD. And so that becomes lower. So a person who's dedicated 12 to 14 hours at his own center, admitting patients, I think 1 crore is not a big amount.
Boss, let me ask you a futuristic question now. How do you think AI will affect this field in upcoming 10 years?
Sir, I don't think it will be able to do much.
Seriously?
Yeah, because see, the emotional aspect of a patient who's even IBS. So IBS is not a major disease. But this patient has seen 20 doctors in the last 20 years. Has a file this large. He's looking for emotional support from a doctor. And in a gastro OPD, 7 out of 10 patients are functional. It's basically a psychiatry OPD, if I can be honest. Right? So how will a AI answer, ये मेरे छाती में पंखा चल रहा है, गैस दिमाग पे चढ़ गई है. Are you understanding what I'm saying? So I don't think that can happen much because the emotional aspect is very high. The gut-brain axis problems are upcoming like anything. The people eating food outside, the processed foods, the pizzas, burgers, the food delivery apps, they are hitting an all-time high. So how do you think an AI will come into the picture and tell कि नहीं pizza ये वाला नहीं ये वाला खाना है या घर पे बना? It's very tough. It's very, very tough. If they are able to crack that code, that a human being is happy talking to a robot about his emotions, then I'll also want to see that.
Sir, the last question before we move on to the audience question. Sir, out of the top 5 super specialty branches, how would you rate them in upcoming 10 years? From the most important to the least important?
I don't think anyone is least important. Not a very correct thing to say, but that would be my personal perspective, right?
Sir.
So gastroenterology, I think, will always be on top. Okay. I think cardiology, I'll rate number 2.
Okay.
Because as you age, cardiologists rise like anything, right? Third, I would give to nephrology. Fourth and fifth, equal, I'll give to rheumatology and neurology.
All right.
Equal, yeah.
So let's start with the audience question, sir. Number 1 is, how do you behave with patients so they feel comfortable with you?
Smile.
How do you sleep fast and improve rest during hectic schedules?
If it's so hectic, you'll fall asleep easily.
Any tip that you can pass on to the residents?
Spend time with yourself away from the screen after 10 p.m.
Okay.
Just read something till you fall asleep.
What's the difference between a gastroenterologist and a gastrosurgeon? And what are the pros and cons of each?
Gastroenterologist is a person who is a physician, looks after hepatitis, looks after varicose bleeds, and is an endoscopist, looks after pancreatitis. A GI surgeon is a person who operates, does liver transplant, does liver resections. So if a gastroenterologist diagnoses an HCC, the liver transplant would be done by a GI surgeon. A gastroenterologist diagnoses C head of pancreas by an US, the Whipple's is done by a GI surgeon. So it's a team. You cannot take one away from the other. If a gastroenterologist is doing a procedure and he meets a perforation, so a surgeon will come into the picture. During the OT, a GI surgeon might not be able to localize a duodenal lesion or a rectal lesion. A gastroenterologist would go with a scope and maybe tag it with methylene blue. So they are people who are helping each other out in delivering best care to the patient.
Any cons of being a gastrosurgeon? Because we have already discussed the pros and cons of being a gastroenterologist.
Long graph. That's all. Because if you want to do a liver transplant, I think it's a very long graph.
It's a very long graph. What limitation does a gastroenterologist face compared to a gastrosurgeon?
None. Maybe with years, a gastrosurgeon might put in less time, earn more money.
Does super specialization give any overly myopic view of medicine?
Depends upon the person. No, it does not. You can be a super good physician. No.
Does one lose versatility and dynamism by doing a PG super specialty?
No.
What's the point of doing super specialty if you can't earn without investing crores?
So don't invest crores till you don't have them.
I think we have covered this in detail in our podcast.
Why do you want to invest crores when you don't have them? First earn them.
I think this is the point of this podcast. That the vision that the people have is that you have to, if you want to earn crores, you have to have crores. वो ये भूल जाते हैं कि शुरुआत तो हर बंदे की वही है ना, सागर बूंद बूंद से ही बना है, तो वो बूंद इकट्ठी करनी पड़ेगी भाई, तभी सागर बनेगा.
सर कंपाउंड इंटरेस्ट है ना, आप कंपाउंडिंग को क्यों भूलते हो? आपने 15 साल पढ़ाई को दिए, आपने 10 साल प्रैक्टिस को दिए, तो 25 साल भी तो बेच रहे हो आप एक्सपीरियंस को क्यों भूल रहे हो? आप उसको भूल रहे हो. आप इस चक्कर में ये ना सर कि वहां पहुंचेंगे तो खुश होंगे. खुश तो अभी भी है ना, वहां पहुंच के डिसाइड करेंगे खुश है कि नहीं है. आप डेस्टिनेशन पे नजर क्यों है? जर्नी के मजे क्यों नहीं ले रहे?
हाँ, शुरू तो करो.
बिल्कुल. मैं गाड़ी तब निकालूंगा तो सारी रेड लाइटें ग्रीन होंगी. मतलब क्या बात?
How does opportunity and scope differ between an MD and a super specialist?
Sir, opportunity will always be more for a super specialist because the numbers will always be less than physicians, right? And for a physician, the only problem is you will need other sources of income, like your own pharmacy, your own drug dispensing, or own path lab or something of that sort. But with a super specialist, you'll have procedures, you'll have much more IPDs, different kind of versatile IPDs you'll have. So I think that's the only thing. With MD medicine, if you really want to do well, you will have to eventually have your own nursing home.
For a super specialist, is the scope more in a first tier city or a second or third tier city?
Everywhere, sir.
Everywhere.
So earlier, I'll tell you, we used to have so many patients from Hisar or so many patients from Gwalior used to come to get ERCP done in Delhi. Today, we don't have them. You have good gastroenterologists in Gwalior, very good gastroenterologists in Hisar.
So is the pay better in Gwalior or Delhi?
Sir, see, it is very, very, controversial thing to say, because in Delhi you might be earning more, your cost of life will be higher.
Yes.
So, a 5 lakh rupee in a tier 2 city might be 15 lakh rupee in Delhi.
True.
So, what are you looking for becomes a very... See, I never would have come to Delhi. But I was born here. Everyone is coming here is a different kind of a story.
This is our place, native place.
Yeah.
We can't run away from it.
So it's like my parents came from Himachal to Delhi, but I did not have the option to live in Himachal. Right? My parents decided...
हमारा गाँव तो यही है ना?
हाँ, obviously. अब अगर pure Delhiite कोई term है, if there's a term called pure Delhiite, I'm a pure Delhiite. I was born here.
What is the highest amount doctors get paid in leading private hospitals?
See, a doctor never gets paid. You have to understand. Forget your degrees. It's about how much good work you can bring to the table. Every doctor will be on a revenue sharing mode eventually. See, the point is, a lot of people think that corporate hospitals want us to do wrong stuff. I've worked with corporate hospitals for 8 years now. No one has ever asked me to do one unethical work. Rather, I've been told, if you do something unethical, a medical legal thing happens, you are all on your own. It is a very big misconception that doctors are given targets. No. They see what is the reputation in the market because they are MBAs. You are an MBA, you understand. Work will come from your reputation, what people talk about you. And how is that made? When 10,000 patients you see, what they say about you. If you go to a corporate hospital, the minute you step out, you get a message for a feedback. If you give a bad feedback, they'll ask you 10 questions. What was the problem? People might say doctor's clothes were not good. People might say the minute he starts saying that the way he talked to me is not nice, these people note. The minute he says the doctor did not give me time, he notes. The AI is noticing now. The AI now can spoil your life. The minute you are given 1 to 10 numbers, you can see, sir, with any corporate hospital, it's a normal system. They have this software. There will be a link. You'll click on it. The minute you give it less than 5, 6, they will have 10 questions. And then they might call you one day. That, sir, we have this problem. And then they might collaborate that, yes, you are not able to grow because of this. Why will I pay you? You just tell me. In the corporate circle or in a private setup, you have a land on which there is a hospital. You have a running expense which is so high. Will you pay me for doing a procedure for a patient already I've given to you? Or will you pay me to bring a new opportunity? If you are turning your blind eye to this, like a lot of youngsters say, I've done DM Gastro, now I'll earn 3 lakh rupees a month. You can earn 3. You cannot earn 30. You cannot earn 10. That will only happen if you are good at your work, your patients speak good about you, and you give good results to patients. These 3 things cannot be bought.
Was the last question is the future of gastroenterology in the next 15 years, especially in tier 2 cities like Gorakhpur.
So I know a gastroenterologist from Gorakhpur, and I think Gorakhpur is a wonderful city. I think a lot of opportunities. Yogi ji ki city hai, matlab kya baat kar rahe ho? It's going to come up like anything. Maybe we have the next PM from Gorakhpur, so why are we undermining Gorakhpur? So I think not a very good question. You should be very proud that you're from Gorakhpur. It has a lot of potential. Amazing city. For gastroenterologists, wow. Mouth-watering.
So let's move to the rapid fire questions. So very simple rules, 2 rules, super spontaneous, super truthful. सोचना नहीं है सब, बस बोलना है.
Done.
So would you rather travel to the past or the future?
Nowhere. Present.
South Delhi.
Present.
If you could turn any hobby into a full-time career, what would that be?
Gastroenterology.
सर वो तो ऑलरेडी है.
और कोई स्किल है नहीं ना सर. मतलब आई थिंक डूइंग अ पॉडकास्ट माइट बी इंटरेस्टिंग मी राइट नाउ, बट आई थिंक gastroenterology.
So from your bucket list, name one thing you are glad you never tried, no regrets.
Never tried any what do you call IV drug abuse or cocaine or anything of that sort. So. No regrets.
If you could have any animal as your assistant, what would you do?
Never thought of it. Funny question. Maybe a dog because I love dogs. So.
What's the first app you open in the morning?
First
App.
No, WhatsApp.
Because दुनिया का I think WhatsApp ही है. पहले मैसेज पढ़ लो फिर कुछ करेंगे. What's the most expensive thing you have ever bought?
My house.
वो भी साउथ दिल्ली में. बच्चों बहुत पैसे.
लोन पे है सर, let's be honest. क्या खुलवाओगे आज आप?
Weekend at home or weekend away?
Both, depending on the mood. Yeah.
Happiest moment in Dr. Shubh's life?
The day I cracked PMT, I saw my parents cry outside Patel Chest. My father saw my rank 15-20 times, and we didn't have the money to go to private medical college. So I asked my father if I had not cracked that PMT, what would have happened. He told, BSc कर रहा होता कहीं से. So even my younger brother is a pretty renowned orthopedic surgeon. I think he didn't face any problems because that mental hurdle was broken because none of my friends' children were able to crack PMT into a government college. So I think 18th May 2005, uh, that was the day I got that All India and DPMT rank together, and that changed my life. And I never
18th
wanted to be a doctor.
18th May.
Yeah.
So like we are a couple of days.
Yeah. And I never wanted to be a doctor, so it completely changed. Yeah.
All right, boss. Thank you so much for your time, sir. Thank you for so much for such a great, insightful discussion.
Thank
We
you.
are honored to have you. And I think on behalf of all the audience here and on the screen itself, thank you so much for such a brilliant insight to the field of gastroenterology.
So before closing, I would like to say that I have attended your father's classes, and I'm a very big fan. And I've always heard your name, and I always wanted to meet you. And by this medium, I've been able to meet you. I consider myself a little more successful than I was yesterday because I've done this.
Thank you so much, boss, for the kind words. And it has been a wonderful time meeting you, having this discussion, and knowing Dr. Shubham Vatsya. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for watching today's podcast. I believe the field of gastroenterology has been categorized for us, dissected, and every single detail has been presented to you by the legend himself. So let's go forward. Let's make this branch the success it deserves. And I feel together, share it with your friends. Let them know the future of gastroenterology. And yes, it is possible to earn 1 crore rupees a month. So before shutting this off, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. And this is me, Nachiket Bhatia, as your host. Thank you so much, and God bless you.